Good afternoon. It's been a New York minute since I've seen anyone. I came to just explain why I hadn't made a video in quite a while. I have so much on my plate trying to get pieces of work produced, get my business up and running, get my LLC, lots of studying, classes, courses. I have not had time, and I had to prioritize, and videos were not at the top of the list. I am so sorry. Even though I enjoy making them, and I know people are always asking to see my work, and I've been working. And I'll show you a few things I've been up to. I did a Skillshare class of 100 paintings in 100 days. I got bored with them. It had nothing to do with the content creator. It's just that, and do a painting in one sitting, which I really enjoyed and did not think I would. I've always made it a goal to try and get a painting done in a day, but it stressed me out, so I would give up. But it's very hard for me to come back to a painting and keep working and then come back the next day and keep working. It's just very difficult for me. I don't know, maybe I have a mental disorder. We shall see. But I'll show you a few of the 100-day paintings, and in between them are some of the ones I made up. Like the first one I'll show you is this one. This was her idea of the Aurora Borealis with some very dark colors, which I did not care for. And I don't like working with white. But I thought, yeah, let's get out of the comfort zone here and let's do both. And it's very interesting, and I enjoyed doing it. But I needed more color, so I made another one. And here's the one I made. I needed brightness. I don't know why, but I did. I thought this was a little more interesting for my taste. Everyone has different opinions about how they want to present the subject. I enjoyed this much more. I wanted a little bit more, probably, I guess the correct word would be, is a low-key color combination, and this is high-key. Normally I like low-key, but for some reason this time I did not. And we'll move on. And she had us do a lighthouse, which, as former East Coasters, I thought was very funny, because we get sick of seeing lighthouses on the East Coast, and now we're in the Pacific Northwest, and nobody seems to really much care. I enjoyed the sky in this one. And I also enjoyed doing the little palm trees, the silhouettes. I thought that was pretty too. She had us go through some scenery of the woods and trees and hills, landscape mode. I don't know if I finished this one. I got all enthralled with the sky and not so interested in the landscape. I don't know why. It was an interesting landscape, but I kind of lost interest in it. It could be I used the colors she suggested, and I charged up the sky a little bit more than I should have. Too bad. This one I love. I really loved doing this tutorial with her. I changed it up. I made the sky more lively. I added the PBL masking for the stars. I like this transition into the dusk. I changed the foreground also. She did not have anything quite forward. I added some trees that were a little more forward. This one turned out really nice in my eyes. I thought it was pretty cool looking. This is a swampy one, which I didn't like at all, but I did it. I mean, get out of your comfort zone. Do something you don't really much care about. As much as I love trees, I didn't like this one, but everybody seemed to like this, and the colors do really glow. That's the wonder of watercolors, is getting that beautiful, free flow of the water and let it move on its own, and that's what I did. Then I got bored with her composition, so I made one up. I had another tutorial that I took a hint from, and I changed it up a little bit, and I wanted to do some mist, and I thought that looked pretty cool. It's very moody. It's a little low and high key. It could have more interest and more central interest, but these are only studies, and they're to be done quickly. This one, the sky got a little out of hand, but it looks like shelf clouds, and they kept that moodiness in the foreground also. I enjoyed that one a lot. She did another desert scene, which is pretty high key. I changed up the mesas in the back. I switched them around a little bit to suit me, and of course I changed her sky. I'm just all about the sky. This is one of my, I kind of like these with the crazy skies. And this was my favorite one to do. Her sky was very quiet. I decided that was not what was going to happen on this painting. I went crazy. And I also changed up her foreground and stuff. But that's the idea of the whole exercise. It is not to copy her exactly. To get out there and do some experimentation, change your techniques, try a new technique, try for depth, try for perspective, try to pull things forward, do the push and pull. This one was my personal favorite. Then, like I said, I have not been idle. I gotta stop looking to you, it's that way. I like this one a lot. I made this one up myself. I wanted to practice and see if I could complete a cirrus sky, the cirrus clouds, the little wispies. And I got a little crazy, but I like this, and I added a tree. Of course I did. Then I got a little abstract while I was away. This looks very washed out, and I can't figure out why. It must be the lighting. That's another thing I did while I was not recording. I was getting my studio more up to speed for lighting and something else holding my phone to record, because my last video was trash because I could not hold the camera and paint at the same time, which was totally ridiculous to even try. This one I did. This is more, I think of Charlie Brown. For some reason I expect Snoopy and Little Woodstock to come running out of these weeds, but this is a good representation of using a spray, very wet and wet, splattering, letting the colors just bleed, turning the paper, letting it swirl. And this was really pretty. I don't know what I'll do with the tree. I might finish it. The knot hole isn't correct. I will put it close up for you. As you can see, the knot hole does not look dimensionally correct. And all those really pretty swirls. So that is, oh, excuse me, I have a few more. This is crazy. I've been painting probably for more years, not necessarily in watercolors, but I just decided to make up my own. They're all the same size, which I liked. And the other thing that I really learned, and I love that she taught me this, to quickly decide on your colors, your values. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. This is masked out trees and leaves and some water reflections. I don't know where this will go. This was just a study. It's a big study. I hate working small. I really don't like those small pictures, but they were a good lesson. This is what I prefer to do, something really large, where I can have room to maneuver and have broad brush strokes. Say that fast 3 times. I'll do a close-up of the trees and the bleeds, the trees in the background. Also, with these trees, I discovered a brush that I had never tried before, and that's what made these trees look so interesting and so easy to complete. I invested in some Princeton dagger brushes. As you can see why they're called dagger brushes, by the way they're shaped. And I have found that this is the perfect way for me personally to make some trees. In fact, I made this quick tree in like 1 minute with a dagger brush. and just some Prussian blue and some Payne's gray. Very quickly. I mean, it's not a fantastic tree, but the possibilities of what you can complete with, you know, a dagger brush, I enjoyed that. I also took a couple tutorials from someone on YouTube, I don't know who it was, with rocks and some granulating paints that I had never worked with before. And I found that I like this lunar, oh, can I remember the name? Lunar, it's a Daniel Smith paint. I use Daniel Smith and Da Vinci watercolors, but this is Lunar, Lunar Earth. That's what the very light brown is. That's all the granulation that you see there. That's just from the paint. That has nothing to do with my ability. Just letting that paint lay. This is another 100-day painting I made up just for me. And it's just a little mouse on some teasel or, I don't know, wheat. But it was just very quick. I liked the way the sky was just very pale and quickly went to yellow. I like to practice doing grade A washes. That's a very good thing to do with watercolors, to practice. It gives you a good lesson in how to control your paint and water. Here was a study I did of a horse. I think I got the picture from Pixabay, and they're free. You can give the photographer credit, you can donate to them. That's your choice. I changed all the colors of the horse, obviously. I enjoyed this. I think I forgot to do the nostrils to finish this one. That's all that needs to be done. It was a quick study. I took that same horse and thought, let's get crazy with the sky. And I really like this. I think I will finish this one. And this one will probably stay at my house. I like the bleeds and this, what it looks like sand. I like the color of the horse. Crazy, intense background. Makes it very, very lively. Then I did some quick studies just to see what I could complete with very, very pale colors and trying to make subdued water rocks. I don't know if I'll finish this one or not. I may. But it was a good study in where you would want to leave soft lines, like in the sky, with the soft sky, and use your hard lines on the shore and let some very, very mild, quiet bleeds go into the water. And then you have the close-up water where you can see the rocks through it. I've been trying very hard these past few months to really up my skills and to learn my paints. Because even though I've been doing this for many years, it's still, the watercolor was not my first choice in medium. Like I told you probably before, that I was from an oil background. Then I did a lot of sketching and things like that. So when you go from oil to watercolor, it's hard because oil is a hard edge medium, meaning that nothing bleeds. You can probably, in water soluble oils, you can probably accomplish those things. I have not yet tried them. I don't know if I will. I might. But those are interesting things to try. And always look for something to get yourself out of a comfort zone. Take a break. Like last week, I took off. I had painted for like 2 or 3 months straight, like 3-4 hours a day. And I needed a break. I really needed it. I was getting a little dry. But I started this. I took one person's tutorial and I changed it up. And then I found some sunflower photographs that are free. Pixabay, could be anywhere. But this is a good example of where you can layer and let hard lines show through. And it creates the delicacy of the very thin leaves of a sunflower. Hopefully I will finish this the next day or two. I don't know. Also, you'll notice that I used a lot of paper with those little studies. I used the Aquarello watercolor. This is Fabriano. It's a block, but it's reasonably priced. It's 20 sheets, they're 12 by 16, and the Fabriano paper is very nice. I like working with it. I also used, oh, can't find it now. I've also been using Saunders waterproof. This paper is very nice. It's a little softer than the Fabriano. Sorry, I'll let that up there a little longer for you. That would be nice. This is also 16 by 12. And I bought some 16 by 12 frames from Dick Blick. I will try and remember and put all these things down in my description at the bottom. Also, with these watercolor blocks by Fabriano and Saunders, you will see a difference in what I taught you before on sizing. What makes the paper hold its shape and keeps it flat. Some people remove the sizing and do a water soak. I don't bother stretching my paper. I just let it wrinkle up. I've told you that before. But I think the sizing on the Fabriano was a little bit tighter. And I noticed that when you get it wet, I don't know if that will show, probably not. When you get it wet, it seems to take a little longer for the paper to absorb a little bit of water. The Saunders paper, the Saunders Waterford, seems to absorb the water a little faster. I think their sizing is a little different, and I kind of like that because I can get in a hurry if I have an idea and I want to get to something. I have a tendency to be really, really pushy about when I put that water down and waiting for it to soak in a little bit. The Saunders seems to be a little more forgiving with my habit of being in a hurry to get to that where I'm working. I wanted to discuss my palette. This is a Meeden ceramic palette, and it washes up a lot nicer than plastic. You will find yourself with plastic palettes that you're scrubbing, it stains, and it just leaves imprints of the staining colors constantly. I like these Meeden ceramics. Everything here is by Meeden. It's M-E-E-D-E-N, ceramic palettes. I've also been very careful lately to keep my palette smaller. This is Hansa Yellow Light. This is Soul Shine. Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine. This is Cobalt Turquoise. Ooh, I hope I have that right. This is Payne's Gray. This is Indigo. This is Prussian Blue Green Shade. This is Artemis. Burnt Sienna Deep and Burnt Sienna. This is Opus. This is Alizarin. This is Alizarin Gold. This is Vermilion. I am a Vermilion junkie. I really like it. The outside colors I don't remember. They were new colors and I've experimented with them. Experiment with the colors, as I said before. Test out cobalts from a couple different makers and see if you like the granulation of one company better than another. They can change by year also. Just, the ingredients. I don't know myself. I've never really completely studied all making of watercolors and the pigments that are used. But I would imagine they can be batch by batch, just like anything like yarn dyes. I like getting the Da Vinci tubes that are 37 milliliters. Nice big tubes. The biggest tube you can get from Daniel Smith is the 15 milliliter. I work on big pieces. I need a lot of paint, and it can be a little pricey to buy a couple of these 15 milliliters as opposed to a big old 37 milliliter. And I am liking the Da Vinci paints a lot. I like their acrylics. I've used their acrylics for many years, and the quality so far I've been very happy with. I also use some Holbein. I prefer Holbein's Vermilion. I find myself every once in a while shopping to get myself one tube of Vermilion of Holbein. Their paints are wonderful. I've just graduated or moved over to different color choices. Daniel Smith has a very wide range of beautiful colors. Their greens, even though I preach make your own greens, the Daniel Smith greens are really lovely. They have a nice quality about them that's really earthy, and they're worth looking into. But first, learn to make your own greens. That's very important. That way you learn your cools and your warms and how they interact with each other. It's very important, and your opaques.